God gave me a dream, a very different dream. I wanna issue out a disclaimer while I'm ahead. This dream has nothing to do with me or my wife, but oftentimes what God does is, whenever it's something He wants me to be able to relate to and feel the emotion from, and get a real experience, He always puts somebody that's real in that placeholder to make sure that I understand how it feels. So He gave me a dream, and it was in two different locations. One of the locations were at my grandma's house, but my grandma didn't stay there. It was actually my mom, her children, me and my wife. So it was all of us there. And the other location was in like a condo. It reminded me, when you first walk in, it's an apartment, but once you get inside, it's very luxury. So it gave like a condo setting, but most of the dream took place in the condo setting. I remember it. I was on the bed with my wife. We were just laying down, laughing and talking, and we were, making jokes and things like that. And I so happened, to, make a few more jokes, and we were just talking, and I ended up asking her a question, but it was like I was joking, but I was serious at the same time. And I asked her, I said, "Hey, so have you slept with any other guys, while we were married or anything like that?" And me, I'm saying in a joking manner, and I didn't really mean much by it. And so I asked her the question, and I kind of noticed that she was laughing, and the laugh kind of began to fade away. And I was like, "Hey, have you slept with any other guys while we were married?" Because I know that she was a virgin. And so I was like, "Have you slept with other guys while we were married?" And I noticed that her smile began to get less and less, and it kind of threw me off a little bit, because I wasn't prepared for that. I was like, hey, I was saying it as a joke, but now you're scaring me. I'm like, "Shannon, so have you slept with any other guys while we're married?" Like, you're scaring me, because you were smiling and laughing at first, but now you're starting to get teary-eyed, and you're kind of scaring me a little bit. So hey, I'm like, "Hey, Shannon, like why are you getting sad? Like, you almost feel like you're finna cry." And I'm like, "Shannon, no, Shannon, have you slept with someone else while we were married?" And she began to look at me, and she said, "Yes." And I don't think I was prepared. I didn't prepare myself enough to actually hear the response, because it took me by surprise. And so, and I'm like, how long ago? Was it a long time ago, or was it recent? And she was like, "Well, it was both." But wait, hold up. What do you mean recent? Like, was it with a friend or something like that? I mean, she was like, "Well, it was one of them." I'm like, wait a minute, are you kidding me? I'm like, "What friend was it?" And she was like, "Well, there's one you don't really know like that." And when she told me the name, it was somebody I knew that I didn't really know that much in a dream, but in real life, I didn't know them at all. So I was kind of thrown off, and I'm looking at her kind of crazy. And then I end up switching from the condo location in the dream, And I ended up going to my grandma's house with my mom, and all of us stayed there. And I sat there, we was laying in the bed, but we was fussing and we was arguing, and my mom had told my big brother, hey, go tell them to be quiet. And so my big brother came in there and was like, hey y'all, y'all need to calm it down, you're too loud. But when my big brother saw me, he saw tears begin to flow down my face, and he knew at that time if something like that happened, it was something real crushing to me, because I normally don't ever show that side. And so when he saw me, he was like, man, he knew it was relating to a relationship. And so the dream goes back into the condo, and I'm kind of still looking at my wife, surprised, like, I'm not understanding. What did I do for you to do that to me? I didn't comprehend. My emotion was all over the place. And so, though it didn't settle in just yet, she said, and my son was next to us playing with his toys in the midst of all this that's going on. And so my wife said, hey, so what do we do now? Should we just go ahead and co-parent? Just focus on, taking care of the child? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I couldn't understand what was happening at that very moment. It didn't get real until I saw her get her bags and her clothes, pick them up, and actually head out the door. And she left her son, and we left our son with me. And so she got her stuff and she left out the door, and I couldn't explain how it felt. It didn't become real until after she left. And I'm sitting in that moment, and my mind just began to go in so many different places. At one time, it was unreal. I was for the first time in my life, I was experiencing a trauma beyond anything I've ever could imagine going through. The loneliness, remembering all the different people we call family. Like, can I still call her mom now that we're separated now? All of the history, the memories. Like, my life at that moment was being reshaped at a pace I couldn't comprehend. Neither did I feel it was acceptable. So sometimes the hardest part of a relationship is not about what happens at that moment, but sometimes it's how do I move forward with my life after I can't access what I was used to. What do I do after this, this happens? Can I, we spend so much time together doing this and doing that and going these places and seeing our family and traveling, doing all this, and now that it's no longer available, what is my life then? How do I respond to life? And so I began to experience this void unlike anything I've ever seen. And so I had forgotten in a dream, I was supposed to be dropping something off. So I heard grab the stuff and left out the door. And I began to drive fast to her, drop this thing off. And right when I began to drive off, I realized something. I forgot about my son. My son was still in the condo. And I was like, oh my God, I began to panic immediately. So, oh my God, I forgot my son. I forgot my son. So I had to hurry, turn back and hit a U-turn and drive back, because my mind has been so out of whack because of what just transpired, what just happened with me and my wife. And so I'm rushing back, and out of nowhere, I wake up. And as I began to get up, and I'm confused about what is happening. And the Lord began to deal with me, and He began to encourage me and help me and said, son, your assignment has changed. He said, your focus is finding the people that are broken or are being damaged every day because of the decision that somebody else made. He began to tell me, son, you don't understand how many people we affect daily with our decisions. And because of what my wife had did, it caused my whole life to turn so fast. And I remember feeling the feeling of despair and void and a loss of life, or a feeling at a loss I didn't even have a desire to live. It was because my life seemed empty without her. And he said, son, do you understand how many people are in this position right now? How many people are being cheated on but think their relationship is healthy and everything is going well because on the outside it looks well? And I can just remember the feelings of hopelessness, being lost in understanding, not having the words that I could use to get my mind out of this trapped place. And the Lord began to ask me, he said, son, do you remember how that made you feel? I said, yes, Lord, I don't ever want to feel this. I don't ever want to feel like I can't trust anybody. I don't want to ever feel like that I'm having a happy life, but behind closed doors, I'm being prepared for destruction and don't even know it. Because of the decision of someone else. I remember when I was rushing back to get my son because I left him in the condo. And the Lord began to minister to me and say, son, you see how these situations can happen so fast. Trauma can come in so fast because of the decision of someone else. That these things can be so powerful that you forget about the son. He gave me that revelation because sometimes the wear and tear of life can have us so distracted that we find ourselves walking away and wandering in places that tend to only delay destiny simply because of the decision of somebody else. But God wants to help you. He wants to help us to get our focus back on track, to get our hearts cleared and clean from all of the trauma we've experienced. And the Lord hit me with a question. He said something to me that I had no more words after it. The Lord said, son, you remember how it made you feel? You was broken, right? You was hurt, devastated, at a loss for words. Because of your wife, your bride, did that to you from their decisions. He said, son, the question to you is, how do you think I feel when I'm the one getting cheated on every day? We are the bride of Christ, and yet we choose to make decisions that affect God every day. How do you think I feel when I gave them, my children, the roadmap to be healthy, and they choose another course? How do I respond? This is the word of the Lord to the church. We have to make sure that we understand that the decisions that we make every day, we're not the only person that's being affected by it. I've learned that whatever I do, never have a selfish mind in the equation where it's all about how does it benefit me? How does it help me? How can I get what I want? But rather, how does it affect my neighbor? How does it affect my relationship with God? How does it affect my relationship with my spouse and my children? Now, I understand this dream specifically wasn't tailored to my wife because she wouldn't do such a thing. She's a beautiful woman and I cherish her greatly. But God wanted me to feel what He feels so that I may express it to you, that your decisions you make every day not only affect you, but it also affect your relationship with God and others. Be blessed.